Despite being one of the richest nations in the world, the United States has failed to end its homelessness crisis, leaving millions of people trapped in a cycle of poverty, displacement, and desperation. As thriving cities transform into encampment zones and countless individuals sleep on sidewalks, in shelters, and under highway overpasses, the question remains: why can't America solve homelessness? Rising housing costs, inadequate social programs, mental health struggles, and economic instability have all contributed to this growing emergency. Yet policies continue to fall short in providing real solutions. In this documentary, we break down the root causes of homelessness in the U.S., uncovering how government failures, corporate greed, and social inequality have perpetuated this crisis. From Los Angeles' Skid Row to New York City's overcrowded shelters, we explore why homelessness remains unsolved and what must change to prevent further devastation. If you believe this conversation is important, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis on social justice issues. America is not just a crisis. It is a national emergency that has spiraled out of control, leaving millions without stable housing and forcing families, veterans, and individuals struggling with mental illness onto the streets. Despite the country's immense wealth and resources, the government continues to fall short in tackling this crisis effectively. The problem has persisted for decades, growing worse as income inequality expands, housing prices skyrocket, and policies fail to provide meaningful change. Every day, people wake up in tents, shelters, or on sidewalks, unable to escape a system that seems designed to keep them in poverty. While politicians promise solutions and local governments enforce temporary fixes, the harsh reality is that homelessness in the U.S. is more than a policy failure. It is a systematic issue deeply rooted in economic disparity, corporate control, and government negligence. One of the biggest contributors to homelessness in America is the housing crisis. Rent prices have exploded across major metropolitan areas, forcing low-income families and individuals into a never-ending struggle to keep a roof over their heads. In cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York, rent has become completely unaffordable for many people. Even those working full-time jobs often find themselves unable to afford basic housing, leaving them vulnerable to eviction and displacement. As property developers prioritize luxury housing over affordable units, and landlords continue raising rent prices without restrictions, thousands of people are forced onto the streets. The government's response has been sluggish, with little effort made to regulate rent increases or build sufficient low-cost housing. Shelters are overcrowded, eviction rates continue to rise, and families who once lived stable lives suddenly find themselves homeless. This ongoing housing crisis makes it nearly impossible for those affected by homelessness to find secure, permanent shelter, keeping them stuck in survival mode with no way out. Mental health and substance abuse further complicate the homelessness epidemic, leaving thousands of individuals struggling without proper treatment or support. Many homeless individuals suffer from untreated mental illnesses such as depression, schizophrenia, and PTSD, making it difficult for them to maintain employment or navigate social services. Rather than investing in accessible mental health care and rehabilitation programs, cities often criminalize homelessness, treating mental illness as a law enforcement issue instead of a medical one. Substance abuse, often linked to homelessness, also remains unaddressed, with individuals battling addiction facing arrest rather than receiving the help they need. Without intervention, those suffering from mental illness and addiction continue to be trapped in a cycle of homelessness, unable to access the necessary resources to improve their situation. Economic instability and income inequality have fueled homelessness, turning what was once a manageable social issue into an uncontrollable crisis. The divide between the wealthy and the working class continues to widen, making it nearly impossible for low-income individuals to break free from financial hardship. Wages have remained stagnant, while inflation pushes living costs higher each year. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed these vulnerabilities, wiping out jobs, savings, and security for millions of Americans. As corporations thrive and billionaires accumulate more wealth, everyday citizens struggle to afford necessities, with many finding themselves homeless after a single financial setback. Eviction rates soared during the pandemic, demonstrating how fragile economic stability truly is for low-income communities. Yet despite these challenges, government policies remain focused on short-term relief rather than addressing the deeper structural issues driving homelessness. Cities across America, particularly Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York, have witnessed the rapid expansion of homeless populations. In Los Angeles, encampments line streets, parks, and freeway underpasses, creating a visible reminder of the city's inability to fix the crisis. Skid Row, one of the largest homeless communities in the country, continues to expand, with thousands living in tents and temporary shelters. San Francisco, once a hub for innovation and wealth, struggles with homelessness due to extreme rental costs and lack of affordable housing. Tech-driven gentrification has displaced long-time residents, forcing them into shelters or onto the streets. New York City, despite being a global financial center, faces homelessness issues on a massive scale, with subway stations, public parks, and streets filled with displaced individuals unable to find permanent housing. Government policies addressing homelessness have largely failed, focusing on reactive measures rather than proactive solutions. Cities routinely conduct sweeps to remove homeless encampments, destroying personal belongings and forcing individuals to relocate with nowhere to go. Instead of increasing funding for mental health services, housing assistance, or job training programs, officials enforce strict anti-homeless laws that criminalize vagrancy and loitering. Shelters are overcrowded and underfunded, leaving many homeless individuals with no safe place to go. Political debates around homelessness often overlook the needs of vulnerable populations, prioritizing corporate interests and wealth accumulation over social justice and human dignity. Solving homelessness in America requires a complete overhaul of current policies, shifting the focus from punishment to prevention. Investment in affordable housing, rent control measures, and tenant protections would provide immediate relief to those at risk of eviction. Expanding mental health care, addiction recovery programs, and employment training would offer long-term solutions to individuals struggling with homelessness. Economic reforms aimed at reducing inequality, increasing wages, and stabilizing the job market would prevent future generations from experiencing homelessness. The solution is clear, yet the political will to enact meaningful change remains lacking. Homelessness in America is more than just an issue. It is a humanitarian crisis unfolding in real time. The country's failure to provide shelter, care, and dignity to its most vulnerable citizens is a reflection of systemic inequality and government negligence. Until policies prioritize people over profits, homelessness will continue to rise, pushing millions into despair. The fight for real change requires awareness, action, and accountability. If you believe this issue deserves attention, share this video, start conversations, and demand solutions. The crisis is not irreversible, but it will take collective effort and pressure to create lasting change.